get to that.
No.
Okay.
It's part of the fun. Over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And everyone who's here, welcome to this session. It's the legal structure and incorporation session as part of the Abia Startup Investment Readiness Program. My name is Bestie. You'll get to meet my colleague soon. Her name is Miriam Ulrika. We both represent a company called Corporate Bestie Technologies, where we are simplifying the process of company formation. Essentially what that means is how you form a company, how you start a business, right? The process of company formation and compliance for African and non-African founders. We want people to be able to take any idea that they have, legalize it, and scale that business, not just in their locality, but across the world. And we're currently helping founders to get set up in Nigeria, in the US, and in the UK. So let's go straight into it. Okay, like I said, my name is Bestie. I've been in the startup ecosystem for a long while, almost 10 years now, supporting entrepreneurs. I'm a lawyer by profession. I'm a Texas community all-star, recently named this year. So I have quite a number of experience in organizing startup events, startup programs, operations when it comes to building businesses, and technology and digital technology related events, right? Skills development. My team, Miriam, my colleague, would also introduce herself. So I'll just allow Miriam. And Miriam, please say hello to all the amazing people that are here. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm also excited to see Bestie's face too. Like she said, we hardly get to see each other. It's exciting to be here, to be amongst great minds. I was really blown away by the pitches that was given by every single participant. It's great to see people with great ideas and inventions coming out from, Nigeria. It's a really, really great thing to see. And it's also great to see such an amazing program too, being hosted by my state, from Abia State, actually. And it's actually great to see. Yeah, great to see this actually happening, at this time. So I really commend, the organizers of this program. And I say you guys are doing an amazing job. And then I look forward to having an amazing session with us too. Thank you.
Thank you. So Miriam is a lawyer, and she is also deeply into regulatory compliance and corporate governance for startups, for SMEs, and supporting investors as well. So as you listen to our session, I hope that you gain valuable insights on how to start your business and get it going, right? So today we'll talk about 4 things specifically. We'll talk about the informal economy and poverty and what it has to do with you. Informal economies are essentially economies where they don't have structured businesses. Businesses in such economies lack structure. We'll also talk about benefits of business formalization and compliance, how to choose the right legal structure for your business. And also we'll talk about 20 regulatory compliance bodies you should know for your business, okay? So let's take a poll. Let's play a game. How many of you currently have, so the first thing I just want to know, just so we have an understanding of what's going on here, especially as business owners, how many of you have a legal business? If you have a legal business, say yes in the chat. If you do not, you can type no. How many of you have a legal business? In the sense of that word is, how many of you have businesses that are registered? If you have a registered business, type yes. If you don't, feel free to type no. This is a no judgment zone. If you have a legal business, say yes. If you do not, feel free to say no. Awesome. Uchina says no. Akman K says yes. Kasarachi, I like that name, says yes. Boniface says yes. Awesome. Okay. Keep it coming. For those who are just joining, keep it coming. Number two, how many business regulatory bodies in Nigeria do you know? We're going to talk about 20 today, but how many do you know? Okay, Miriam said, once Jeremiah, I like the fact that your Miriam, Abo William, Abo, I hope I'm saying it correctly, Abo Miriam spokesperson. Okay. How many regulatory bodies do you know? In Nigeria, do you know? You can type the number, just count it at the top of your head. How many regulatory bodies do you know in Nigeria? How many? Do you know just one? Do you know 5? Okay, someone says 5. Kasarachi says 5. Okay. You can type them. The 5 you're saying type them in the comments. Okay, so SUN, NAFDAC, NDIC. Okay. Someone said 2. Anyone just type it in the chat. My third question would be, how many of these organizations are you compliant with? Someone says teen, CAC, teen, SON. Okay. Okay, we have very intelligent, compliant people. Yeah, so let's keep it coming. How many of these organizations are you compliant with? How many do you know? CAC, SMEDAN, NAFDAC, SON. Okay. Okay, awesome. So there's so many regulatory bodies in Nigeria. How many are you compliant with? Right? There's something to know, There's one question about how many do you know. The other one is how many are you compliant with? So let's go ahead. So thank you everyone for answering our questions. It also helps the conversation flow. So that if you have any questions as we talk about some of these regulatory bodies, some of the structures and how to go about them, you would also know that you're following, and you can also stop us at any time to ask questions, okay? But we'll definitely take questions. So let's go into it. As a way of introduction, Corporate Bestie, like I said, simplifies company formation and compliance to help entrepreneurs start, launch, and manage their businesses without stress or complex paperwork. So part of the service we provide is helping you set up your company in accordance with regulatory framework, as well as helping you with your tax identification number and your bank account. We also offer other services like annual returns for those who already have registered companies, trademark. If you want like SCOMO that's done by AFCC, if you want to set up your company in the US, if you want to set up your company in the UK, we also help to facilitate that. Especially in Nigeria, where using your Naira card to access international platforms. I know that's a big challenge at the moment for a lot of Nigerians. We can help you set up a company in the US, get a credit card or get a debit card in dollar, and then carry out your dollar transaction. Okay. Our platform is simple. You can apply in minutes. We have a record application time of 3 minutes. So people go on our website and they utilize our services. We've got a few people who said, it took me just 3 minutes to complete the application process. So it's that simple, it's that easy, because it shouldn't be complex. What should be the complex part of running the business is like the main part of the business, right? The process of forming it shouldn't be complex, and that's what we believe, and that's what guides how we service our customers, how we support customers and support businesses. We also do not include any legal jargon in our entire process, so that it's so easy for you to understand what we're doing and what we're going to be doing for you. Our process is also, not complex. So you can apply in minutes, no legal jargon, no complex paperwork. Everything is done digitally. You also get your documents digitally. You're not going anywhere. It's mobile friendly, it's affordable, it's accessible, and you also get access to other tools. Like we discussed with the organizers of this program, we're giving a 15% discount on any of our services. So you get 15% off on our services. by using the code discount 15. So for those of you on this program, if you use the code discount 15, you get 15% discount on our services, and then you're good to go. Okay. Just a bit about what our customers say about our services. They call it super affordable, super fast, super efficient, stellar customer service. Our services have also been described as smooth, seamless experience, and so on and so forth. So you feel free to reach out to us. You can send us an email. You can reach out to us via any of our social media platforms or via our website, and use the code discount 15 when you get to while you're filling the form, and then you'll be able to get a discount on our service. So let's go straight into the main conversation today. Okay, I see that Gift has responded. Thank you. So the main conversation for today, we're talking about legal formation, setting up your company. This program is specifically for startups and how you can prepare your business for investment, for funding, so that you can grow. One of the things that we have found out is that Nigeria is the third largest informal economy in the world, right? And the second largest in Africa. We're just dragging spaces in Africa with Zimbabwe. People regard Nigeria as the giant of Africa, with millions of SMEs in Nigeria, but the impact of that is not felt as much. Just around the corner, you'll find MSMEs, but there's still deep-rooted poverty. And there's so many reasons for that. Of course, there are the leadership issues that we face in Nigeria, regulatory issues that we face, government-related issues that we face. But there's also the part where, because most of these businesses are not in a formal structure, they're not formalized, they are not, they don't have any structure around them. People just do things as they go. It doesn't drive wealth. It doesn't drive prosperity. Because when a person starts a business, for example, it's a family business, and then, especially in Southeast, right? For example, so I'm just going to use that as an example. The person starts a business and they just go on with the business. Eventually, there's no structure. They are not registered. They're just doing, their normal trade. The person dies, and that's the end of the business, especially when they are the all in all of that business. I've seen families that they had like well-doing businesses, but immediately the owner of that family, is gone, the entire thing crumbles. The wife, the kids, they have to start afresh. So that diminishes the growth of wealth growth and how wealth is transferred from one person to the other. So and a deep-seated informal economy is equal to poverty, because you're doing business, but it's not transferring to the other people around, right? Because there's no structure around it. The business can easily be shut down. Things can just go AY, and it's not just in Southeast, for example. We see it all around the world when it comes to the informal economy, informal businesses. So as part of the thing, what we're promoting as an organization, we want more people to understand why it is so critical to have a legal structure to your business and to have corporate governance to ensure that you are on the right track and you're able to take your idea and continue to build it to a point where it just has a ripple effect on your family, on your employees, in the economy, in your immediate community, and it just continues to grow in a way that is sustainable, right? In a way that is sustainable. Again, when it comes to business formalization, I like to think about it as putting your business on a solid rock. I'm sure some of you are Christians. There's something the Bible talks about, building your house on the rock. That when the rain comes, when the wind comes, when flood comes, if the foundation is rock solid, it's difficult for that house to crumble, right? And so that's what it means when you also have a business that is properly registered, a business that is compliant with regulations. When some of these things are in place, it's easy for you to employ people and have a structure in place on how they, join your company, how they exit your company, and there are no, even where there are disputes, there's a way to resolve those disputes, right? Even when it comes to financial transactions, whether you're dealing with partners, with banks, there's a structure around it. Whether you're dealing with your customers, there's a structure around it, okay? Whether you're dealing with government, there's also a structure around it. So just having that rock solid foundation when you set up your business, when you manage your compliance, when you're in accordance with all these laws, helps you to build a sustainable business, okay? And so that's part of our case for you today. Some of the benefits of forming business formalization and compliance. Number one, it gives you a legal identity and protection. If you have a legally registered business, it means you are it's your evidence. It's your evidence that you're running a legal business. Many people don't know this, but it is illegal to run a business in Nigeria that is not registered. It is illegal, right? And having a legally registered company, legally registered business gives you legal identity. You can sue a person and be sued by, with using your business or your company. And you can also protect your assets, protect your personal effects when you register a company and it is formally incorporated. You separate your personal life and your business they are two separate entities. With a formal company, you can also have access to capital. There's no way this program would go smoothly or be concluded without this very critical conversation, because it's mostly about how to prepare you for investment. And without a formal company, you cannot access capital. Because investors, banks, financial institutions would want to see that you have a formal entity, a registered entity. If you're getting into partnerships with people, individuals, as you grow, whether it's maybe a payment platform you're trying to integrate, or you're doing like a marketing campaign with an organization, these organizations will ask you for your registered registration certificate, and it's important that you're able to showcase some of these documents to them. Another advantage or benefit is your ability to scale. As you grow your business in Nigeria, and you think about expanding it to a different country, maybe even in the US, maybe in Ghana, or in other countries around the world, it's important that you have a business to show that I have been doing this thing here. I just want to bring the solution I have to a different economy. People would want to see that you're a valid person, that you're trusted, that you've done this before and you did it in the right way, and will be willing to partner with you and support your plans to scale. The fourth case that we're pushing out in terms of benefits and why you should take these things seriously is that it also builds credibility and trust. It helps your partners, even your employees, your team, to build trust in you. They know that when they come into your organization as employees, you will not deal with them just anyhow, because there's a formal system. You're a formal company. There's a formal system or agreement that binds the employment relationship. Okay, I've had cases where business owners have said, "Oh, this they had to let a staff go, but they didn't have like a formal agreement around it, or maybe the staff just left, right? And there's nothing that was binding that relationship." Having a formal company or a formally registered business means that the business is engaging employees legally and gives them access to decent work and employment, right? Then there's also the issue of brand protection when you're compliant with trademark policies and so many other. If you're even doing business with government organizations, government institutions and agencies, they want to see your registered company. There's so many benefits, and so but these are just a few of the reasons to consider it if you already are not. So I'll hand over the mic or the floor to my colleague Miriam. So Miriam, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Bestie, for that enlightening session. Good evening, everyone, once again. I'm glad to be here. Okay, so I'll be taking the next session on how to choose the right legal structure. Okay, so before we go into the various types of legal structures that are out there for you to choose from, one of the things you have to consider before you start thinking about choosing a legal structure is, the industry your business is going to be operating in. It's very, very important to actually, find out what is obtainable. Hi, Peter's Favor. Good evening. Nice to see you here. Okay, so it's important for you to understand, the regulatory requirements for the industry you are going to be playing in order for you to know what structure is, applicable to you. For example, if you want to own a school, you would actually have to register as a company, not as a sole proprietorship or partnership, that is business name, because that's what is obtainable in that industry, right now. If you are going to have a financial organization, fintech company, you also have to register as a company, not as a business name. So it's important for you to make your research to find out what is the industry requirement for that particular thing on their own before you actually move to it. Okay, so the first on the list for requirements for okay, so let me share my screen since Bestie has given me. Sorry, just a moment, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the first structure is sole proprietorship. So a sole proprietorship is is a one-man business. Of course, just the owner of the business. Is very simple to set up. No much paperwork. It's just basically the detail of the owner of the company that is required for that. And then next one, we have a partnership. A partnership is where two or more persons,
Hello, Miriam, are you still there?
want to form a business together. Some industries, for example, you would actually have to
Is it just me, or can everyone hear Miriam?
No, I think it's from her end. I can't hear her from here.
It's from her end.
Okay. Okay, so while we wait for her to rejoin, I'll just go ahead with the presentation. So she had just talked about, so we have like she was saying, there are different structures for different types of businesses, and depending on the type of business you're setting up, it's important to know what structure the industry requires you to set up as. So for example, financial related industries, you can't set it up as sole proprietorship. It has to be limited liability company. There are also partnership structures of registration. There also another structure is limited liability company. So for this class specifically, we'll be talking about these two because they are like the key structures that businesses are set up in, especially here in Nigeria, and they are more relevant to you as in this program. There's also a structure called limited liability company. Miriam, are you back?
Yes, I am. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
Disconnected.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so like I said, a partnership is basically if you don't want to register a company, and then some industries, like I earlier stated, requires that you register as a partnership. For example, accountants and lawyers, because their liabilities cannot be limited. Thank you so much. And okay, so and then for limited companies, of course, you can either be a private company or a public company. So basically, a company is a body corporate, meaning that it has its own identity, it's standing on its own, and it is limited by shares that persons come together and contribute money or give money to buy shares of the company in order to form the company to carry out the business. These persons are called the shareholders. So the shareholders are the owners of the company, and their liability is limited to the amount of shares that they bought, or the amount of shares that is unpaid, at the time when the shares are being called, or at the time of winding up. So if, for example, you bought 25,000 shares and you only paid for like 10,000 at the point of buying the shares, it means that you owe the company 15,000 naira. So at the point of winding up, or at the point where they are calling for payment of the shares, you would actually have to pay that 15,000 naira. So a limited liability partnership, basically where two or more persons choose to form a business together, a partnership, is also a body corporate too. It can stand on its own. Of course, the requirement for this is very, very stringent, because there's usually no general partner. And one of the things about partnership is that there's usually a general partner, because their liability too is unlimited. So since every single partner is part of the management, so their liability is limited to the amount of the amount that they contributed, or agreed to contribute at the point where they have to pay off their creditors, or the company is being wound up. The partnership is being dissolved. Okay, so the next one is a limited partnership. So a limited partnership, for this to actually work, it means that it has to be a general partner and then limited, partners. Also, venture capital funds, are usually limited, partnerships. And then, of course, law firms or accounting firms too can also register as a limited partnership, because their liability cannot be limited. Then we have company limited by guarantee. So basically, this is a not-for-profit, organization. It's the persons there are usually called guarantors. It's most art for education promotion, for sports. This kind of organization, this kind of structure is suitable for you. You can actually make money. You can actually make profits, using this company, but the money will be used, for the they usually agree, the members usually agree amongst themselves that they are going to contribute a specific amount of money at the end, when they are winding up the company. And because of the nature of this, type of structure for NGOs, you would definitely need the Registrar General's consent of CAC in order to register this, as well as the consent of the Attorney General of the Federation in order for you to register it, because this is like, people are giving you money and you are saying that your liability is limited. So they would want to know the persons behind this and what kind of activities they are carrying out. So the next one is unlimited company. So this kind of structure, of course, it's the liability of the partners is unlimited, of the shareholders is unlimited. This can either be a public . liability is limited to the amount of shares that you own in the company or the amount of shares that you have unpaid. The unlimited liability one is this unlimited company. Sorry, once the creditors ask for their money and they've exhausted the assets of the company, they can, start taking the personal assets of the members of the company. So that's like the definition of unlimited company. But for the purpose of this this training, we would just be focusing on sole proprietorship and limited liability company, because this is what is obtainable out there. And of course, for investment readiness, this is like the kind of structure that you need to set up in order to raise funds. So next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the difference between a sole proprietorship and a limited liability company. So like I earlier stated, sole proprietorship is very simple to set up. There are not too many forms to fill, while registering sole proprietorship, there's not so many information needed, to register a sole proprietorship. And then also it does not have any, minimum share capital. There are no shareholders in a sole proprietorship, so there's no need for share capital. But its liability is unlimited. So unlimited in the sense that the owner of the company is the company. So the owner and the owner and the business are one and the same. There's no difference between the owner and the business. For example, if I register Orika and Sons, Orika and Sons is me. So if somebody wants to sue me, for example, or I want to enter into any contract with somebody, I would have to put my name there, Miriam Orika, before I will now put the name of my business, because the business does not have a separate identity from me. It cannot stand on its own without me. So that means that when the business goes into any form of debt, I'm the one that is personally liable for that debt. So if whatever profit is being made in that business is not able to cover that particular debt, then they can now start coming for my personal assets. So the next one is, of course, it's not investor friendly because of its unlimited liability nature. Of course, investors want to know that their investments are protected, right? So leaving them out there to be sued by just anybody at any time would actually make them scared from investing in your business. So it's not investor friendly. It is not also subject to company income tax. So because it is just a business, and then the owner and the business are not separate, it does not, they don't pay company income tax. You only pay personal income tax. That is the personal income tax of the owner of the company is what is paid to the Internal Revenue Service of the states. Then it is not a body corporate, like I stated earlier. It is not different from the owner. The owner is the business is the owner. They're like the same person, together. And then it does not have perpetual existence. So once the owner dies, of course, most times sole proprietorship ends up folding up because the owner is the business. So the owner is dead, and also automatically means that the business is also no longer in existence too. So for a limited liability company, liability is limited. That is limited to the number of shares you have, or the unpaid shares that you have outstanding. So if, for example, they want to pay off creditors, or the company is asking for shares, is that amount of money that you are owing the company that is the only way your liability is. So if the company is not able to settle its debts, it's none of your business, because the company is a separate entity from the shareholders, is standing on its own. It can sue and be sued in its own name. Yes, you don't need the business owner's name in order to sue or enter any contract. The company can do that on its own. Then there's a minimum share capital, of course. The minimum share capital for registering an LLC is 100,000. in the same billing brackets. The money is not different for registration. Then it is also investor friendly, due to its limited liability status. The fact that the investor's liability is only limited to the amount of shares the investor has in the company actually, they just took the right. So the amount of shares that the investor has in the company, please, if you can still hear me, please just write yes in the comment box, so that I will know that we are all together. Okay, thank you, Bestie. Okay, I'm sorry, just to the light. Okay, so it's investor friendly due to its limited, liability status. So thank you, Vanessa. Because the investors, thank you, Anne, their liability is limited to the amount of unpaid shares that they have, or the amount of shares that they have in the company. So it now makes it more investor friendly, and all that. And then because of corporate governance too, that will be put in place, because there's a structure for making decisions, unlike sole proprietorship, that it's just the owner that makes all the decisions. So it makes it very easy for investors to actually invest. Then it is a body corporate. Of course, it can stand on its own. It can sue and be sued in its own name. It can acquire property. Sole proprietorship, you cannot acquire property with your sole proprietorship, but you can acquire properties with your limited liability company, and it should actually be in the name of the company. So the company can acquire property, and all that. And then it is subject to company, income tax, of course, because it is a company. So you have to, pay the company income tax. And then it also enjoys perpetual existence. So the death of, a shareholder, a director, does not bring, the company to an end and all that, because there are other structures that are put in place. And so because of these structures, it makes it, this corporate governance structure, which is board of directors and all that, it makes it very, very easy for the company to keep existing, even after maybe the person that actually started the company actually is no longer on this side of life. Okay, next slide, please. Please, if you have any questions, you can just type it in the comments, in the chat box, and we'll respond to it. Okay, so of course, at the foundation of every business is compliance. Like, compliance is very, very important, actually. Just like oxygen, right? That we all need to live. Compliance is also really, really important, for a business to thrive and grow. Because if you are not compliant with laws, it means that you're just building your business on nothing, because one day it will definitely fall, it will definitely collapse. And I'm very sure that recently, especially in the international space, we've been hearing about fines here. Recently, Facebook was fined, because of some data privacy violations and all that. So it's very, very important that you actually, make sure that compliance culture is actually woven into or interwoven into your business as you are starting out. Now, of course, the very first regulatory body you meet, once you're entering into the Nigerian business space, is the Corporate Affairs Commission. So one of the things they do is they register your business for you. Also, if you want to carry out any post-incorporation activity, for example, you have a new investor and the person has shares, so you want to include the person as part of your shareholders, you actually also go back to CAC and make that addition. If you want to remove or add a director, you also go back to CAC to do that. Also, if you want to increase your share capital too, you have more investors coming in and you don't have enough shares to give out, and you want to increase it in order to accommodate them, or you are entering into another business. For example, let's say you're into software and then you decide, okay, now we're going to fintech. Then you actually now have to increase your share capital from whatever it is, whether it's 1 million or 2 million to 20 million shares. So you actually now have to go back to CAC to actually do that too. Okay, the question to be answered after this session. Okay, so you actually have to go back to CAC too. Also, CAC requires you to pay annual returns for existing businesses on or before June 30th of every year. So every year you must pay annual returns. Even if you don't, carry out any business for that year, you must still pay annual returns. It's basically just to show proof of life, let me put it that way, because once you don't pay annual returns, your company status, is now changed to inactive. And it doesn't portray your business well when somebody wants to invest or even go into a partnership with you, and the person now conducts a search to find out that, oh, your business is inactive. It doesn't portray you well. So it's important to always pay annual returns every year so that you don't go into penalties and your company is not listed as inactive. Okay, so the next one is the state's internal revenue service. This is particularly for sole proprietorships or partnerships, that's for the states. They generate your team number for you. Although right now they have a partnership with CAC. So once you register your business, you can just immediately fill a form and then get the team actually generated. And we also provide such service too at corporate Bestie. And then you also pay your personal income tax to the state's inland revenue service. It's always important to file your taxes because you might want to get a contract, bid for a contract, or even apply for a loan, and some of the documents that will be required from you. Just like Bestie said, it's illegal for you to operate a business without it being registered. According to the Companies and Allied Matters Act, within 28 days of starting your business, actually, you're supposed to get it registered. You also have the Federal Inland Revenue Service, which collect taxes for companies. So it's also important to remit, taxes to pay your taxes to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and all that. Make sure that you do that every year too, because when you bid for contracts, they will ask you for your tax clearance certificate. Even when you go to ask for a loan, or even when investors too are coming, when they are doing as part of their due diligence too, these are some of the documents that they will ask from you because they want to know that they're not carrying a liability, as part of their portfolio or investment. Yes. So we also have the NAFDAC, that's National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. So if you're into production of food or drugs, you also make sure that you register with NAFDAC. NAFDAC registration is state by state. So you have to go to the state office of NAFDAC to register because they'll usually come for inspection to see where these things are being produced. So it's important to also register with NAFDAC because it actually helps you to market your products in supermarkets, in malls and all that, because once you have a NAFDAC number, you can actually do that. You cannot put any good that does not have NAFDAC number on any shelf to sell, because once you do that, it's illegal and you can get arrested for that. So it's important to actually comply with this. Then the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, if you are into exportation of any kind, also register with them too in order to get their license and permits for you to actually send goods outside, export goods outside the country. Then we have the Nigerian Copyright Commission, trademarks, patents, and design registries. This regulatory body helps you to protect your intellectual property. The intellectual property of a startup or of a SME, sorry, it's very, very important because it's one of the ways to, generate revenue, and also a way of also putting yourself, out there, a way of making yourself distinct from every other person out there. So it's important that you register intellectual property, your copyrights, register this at the Copyrights Commission. You also register your trademark, which is the name of your business logo, which sets you apart from every other business out there. Just today, we saw that Katy Perry lost her trademark case against one Katy Perry in Australia because while Katy Perry was going for a tour in Australia in 2014, she used a clothing line, you used a clothing that actually infringed on that fashion designer's line in Australia. And judgment was given in favor of that fashion designer. And this was only possible because the fashion designer has that particular name trademarked. So it's important for you to trademark your business name. It makes it difficult for somebody to counterfeit your product, to make counterfeit of your product. And where this happens, you can actually sue this person and get the court to stop this person from using your name or your logo, and even get damages too for this. So it's important for you to register it. You can also license out your trademark too to other people, third parties, to use and also make some money out of it. So it's important to do that. Then for patents and designs too, any innovation that you're bringing into the market, or you're improving on an innovation too, it's important for you to also make it patented. Every single product by Apple is patented, from their Apple logo to their phone, to their software, their iOS. Every single thing is actually protected already by registering with all these relevant bodies in whatever country Apple, in the US, where Apple is operating from. So it's important for you to actually protect your intellectual property. So another regulatory body too is the Central Bank of Nigeria. I'm sure recently we saw that about 130 plus microfinance banks lost their licenses, and that's because of lack of compliance. They did not comply with the law that is set in place for their operation, and because of that, the CBN revoked their license. So CBN regulates the financial sector. If you're going into fintech, wealth tech, whatever it is, in the financial sector, CBN is the one that regulates that sector. And even before you start your CSC registration, for those going into fintech, you would actually have to get an approval in principle first from CBN. Once your name is reserved, at CSC, you must get that approval in principle first from CBN before you proceed with your registration and all that. So it's important for you to comply with CBN. And the share capital for companies in the fintech sector, starts from 20 million share capital, as put in place by CBN. CBN also has its own code of corporate governance too, that you actually have to comply with in setting up your board of directors. So it's important for you to, when you are doing your corporate governance, you look at the regulatory body and what is required from you. What kind of directors do you need? How many independent directors do you need to appoint as part of your board of directors? So the next one, we have Securities and Exchange Commission. If you are going to investment, collecting money from people to invest, or going into real estate investment or agricultural investment, you need to register with Securities and Exchange Commission. Trust me, you don't want them to sue you or take you before the Investment and Securities Tribunal. The kind of fines you will pay, it's better you actually just comply at the initial stage and make sure that you comply with their regulation to there. And also, if you want to register a public company, that's a company that is limited by liability but is public, you also have to get registered to the Securities and Exchange Commission. A public company can either be quoted or unquoted. So whether it's quoted or unquoted, it's registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We also have the Special Control Units against Money Laundering. In EFCC, to combat financial crimes in Nigeria, have set this this particular vehicle, that's Kumu, in place to help checkmate businesses that they believe are very very prone to being used by money launderers. So businesses like supermarkets, businesses like casinos, like car dealership, you have to register with SCUMO. It's very, very important. In fact, even when you go to the bank to open an account, or even if you're into consultancy, whatever form of consultancy too, you also need to register with SCUMO. So we have the Nigerian Exchange Group, Nigerian Stock Exchange Market. If you want your company to be, quoted in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, you actually have to register with them. The National Insurance Commission. Okay, you can send in questions, your questions about the regulatory bodies or any questions you have. Please, next slide, please. Okay, we also have Standard Organization of Nigeria. If you are importing electronics or paint production, you actually have to register with them. Then also National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion. If you are bringing in foreign technology into Nigeria, National Communication Commission too. Then National Information Technology Development, Nigerian Ports Authority. If you're going into shipping, Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission for foreigners who are coming into the Nigerian space. Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, if you're going into the aviation industry. National Tourism Development Corporation, if you are going into tourism. National Pension Commission, and then Nigerian Deposit Insurance Commission for those in the financial sector. They insure the monies that are being paid in by depositors. I'm sure we all heard about the Silicon Valley, collapse. So imagine something like that happening in Nigeria. That's why NDIC is there to insure the money of depositors so that depositors don't lose their money. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so like a Chinese proverb says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So it's very, very imperative that you actually take advantage of this opportunity to register your business if you have not done so, or to carry out your compliance activity if you are defaulting in any way and form, so that to ensure that your business keeps thriving. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so questions. So if you have any questions, please okay, so I can see a question here by Joe Shafat. He says, is it possible to upgrade a sole proprietorship business to a holding company? Okay, so it's to have a holding company, right? You must have three other sister companies existing. So the first thing you have to do is to, first of all, upgrade that sole proprietorship to a company first. Once you do that, then you actually now have to register, holding company, that's a parent company, not sister companies. So once you upgrade that company, then you register other subsidiary companies, because for a company to be a holding company, it must have two subsidiary companies under it. So you register, and you might actually have the controlling shares. So you register subsidiary companies, and then the company that you want to be the holding company now holds the majority shares in those companies before you can actually proceed to register as a holding company. So that's the procedure to do that. Okay, I can see someone raising his hand. Please, you can go ahead to speak. Easy. I don't know if I've answered your question, George.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I've been enjoying your class. For the past, let me just say 3 or 4 months, I've been trying to upgrade my business from a business that's from an enterprise to a limited liability company. And actually, I've been doing it even while you were just busy talking. I got a query from the CAC website that I should indicate what's it called, shares allocated. So each time I select the shares allocated and I go to preview, I don't get to see the shares allocated. I don't know if it is from the CAC website, because for the past 3 months, I have been having that issue. So I was the one that did my registration with the CAC. That's the business and enterprise registration. And already I have obtained the what's it called, my tax identification number. So, and I was thinking of, okay, let me use this and upgrade or add it to my test, sorry, to this limited liability company, because there's no way I can get a new tax identification number. So I just have to add it to this new one. So how do I get resolve this CAC constant query? So I don't know how to go about it.
Okay, if you're still speaking, please, I can't hear you anymore. Or are you on screen? Okay. Okay, so it could be a network issue from CAC since it's not appearing there. So what you could do is to actually delete what you've already filled in already, delete them and then refill them again and try to submit again.
Actually, I have done that over and over again, because I've even paid for the upgrade because they had to verify my details, that's the enterprise, and they went on to approve. That's from Dumax Ventures to Dumax Limited. So they have already approved that, which I have already paid for. I paid for both the certificate, I paid for, in fact, I paid for everything entirely. But it's just the query that is constantly popping up. So where we have shares allocation, type of shares. So once I select,
let me just come in to help. What you could do is send an email to us. You can send us an email so that we can better understand, maybe get into a call, better understand what you already have, as well as the nature of the query, and then see how we can help you to resolve it.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if you don't mind dropping the mail so that I can
Okay.
forward them now this evening.
Okay. I'll just type the email.
Okay, if you have any questions, raise your hands. They will ask you to unmute.
So for everyone who's just thinking about how to use our platform for your company registration, or even to go about your compliance, annual returns filing, trademarking, and so on and so forth, our process is very simple. All you need to do is to go on our website, click on the Get Started button. It's just in 4 steps. Choose a structure and fill out the form with your personal or business information. And then the last step is to make payments. Like we said, because of our partnership with this program, well, everyone who is on the program, you get 15% discount off our services. You just need to use the discount code, which is discount 15, and then you'll be able to access it. If you have any, questions, or after the session, or maybe any challenge as you go through the process, and even for Eze, who is having a challenge with his registration, feel free to send us an email. You can reach us at hello@corporatebestie.com. We're available on all our social media platforms. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp. We'll respond. That's our WhatsApp number right there. You can also call that number. And again, like I said, send an email, whichever platform is most convenient for you. Does anyone else have any other question, or you're just going through the process, or anything we've said so far? Miriam has said so far about regulations, regulatory bodies. You have a company, you just want to know which regulatory body applies to it. Feel free to ask us and we'll respond.
Okay. Hello, Corporate Bestie.
Yep, we're right here.
For NAFDAC registration, do you people also help us with the NAFDAC registration?
Yes. Just send us an email. Tell us you want to do your NAFDAC registration. We ask you a few questions that they'll be able to provide support.
It's still the same 50% discount.
Say that again, please. It's not listed as a service on our platform. We only provide it as a custom service.
Okay.
Yes, so send us an email and then we'll be able to advise you further. Okay.
Okay, raise
Okay.
your hand if you have any other question.
Miriam, do you have anything else to contribute while we wait for questions? Hi, Miriam. Okay, look, it appears like she's frozen. Miriam, are you there? Do you have any other thing to add?
Okay, no, from my end. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for the time, Mr. Igwe. We now yield the mic to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I personally have been paying attention to learn more. So it's been series of learning for us, and this is also another opportunity for us to learn from the corporate besties. I like that name. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you everyone who joined. We believe that this will be an opportunity for us to get our businesses registered and also get that opportunity to have 15% off across all your company formation, compliance services, and all that. So corporate Bestie is there for us to have access to that. What we did is this. So we had to look at, we actually went through their website to see what the service cost looks like. So we needed to be sure that the 15%, you know, in Nigeria, when you sell a product 100 naira and you tell somebody 15%, you add the 15% and tell the person no, tell the person to still buy the product. At the end of the day, the person is buying the product at that same price. So we have to look at that and then ask them, we really need this discount for everyone on this call, right? And it's an opportunity for anyone here to see how you can save 5,000 naira, 3,000 naira, 10,000 naira, depending on the service you are looking at. So please take this opportunity and see how you can get in touch with them. Call, reach out to them. Remember what we say here. We are not here to kind of deliver the service to you. We are only here to provide that platform and connect us to the mentors, connect us to the partners, connect us and see how we can bring in opportunities for us to save money. Okay. There are a lot of persons who are looking at getting their NAFDAC approvals and all that, people into food processing. Please, you have asked that question earlier. I know most of you are saying you have network issues, you can't speak. Please get in touch, okay? We're also going to send out emails, okay, across to everyone, the recording and also their contacts, okay, so that you can get in touch with them. Why we are saying this is because if we finish everything, our business model, all that, and they are perfect, at the end of the day, you will still not be able to access funding because you are not eligible for financing, especially for external funding from investors, angel investors, VCs, mention it unless you are just funding yourself, bootstrapping, which is still not advisable, right? In terms of you not registering your business, okay? So thank you, everyone. Thank you, corporate besties. And I want to say we are grateful to have you. And the way we do it, for us to sign out, we are going to have 1 to 3 persons to also give their thanks, and also, yeah, for you to also know that we have persons in the room. And this time, we need to hear from a lady out of the 3 persons. So who is going first? Yeah, who is going first? We have to say thank you for this section. So who is going first? Who is taking up the mic? And yeah, please go ahead, Daniel.
All right, sir. We want to say thank you, corporate besties. I personally learned a lot from this class. So an eye-opening session, and we so much appreciate. Thanks for coming around and for the discounts too. You know, thanks a whole lot. We appreciate.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. We need a lady. 2 more to go. We need someone to speak.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Finally, two at once. This we have two at once. Okay, fine. 2 of you will speak. This is when you have been praying for a child, and God will not give you.
Good evening, mentors. I don't know if you...
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, who is speaking? Favor, right? Favor, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to say thank you. It's favor, yes, favor. I know the network has been very bad, like very bad, but I just want to say thank you, because following the sections and the training, it's been helping me a lot. I really do appreciate, and thank you so much. Both to the coach, to the mentors, they are very patient. And I want to say a very big thank you to all of them. And also to you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, corporate Bestie. So there was a lady, one more lady to go, who was speaking then. Where's your twin sister, Favor?
Chidema.
Yeah, Chidema, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Honestly, I'm so happy. I've been attending to trainings and seminars, but I'll tell you the truth. This one is quite different from all the seminars, the workshops I've been attending. Honestly, I want to appreciate everyone who has been putting their very best to make sure that we get the best training. May God bless you and replenish you in Jesus' name. Honestly, today network have been messing me up. Network was really bad, but I know I picked 1 or 2 things in the training. Thank you very much, corporate bestie.
All right.
I will still chat you up for. Hello?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I said the corporate besties, I will still chat them up for more questions, because I didn't really get everything because of the poor network.
All right, that's fine.
Yes, me too over here. The network was really bad.
Wow. So sorry about that. Yeah, we are supposed to have more than this number. A lot of persons reached out that they were having a lot of network issues. So sorry about that. And you don't want to speak today. Where is Anne? Anne, speak so that we can release our first.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening.
Thank you very much for today. In fact, today's lecture is something that is extraordinary. Starting from the evening lecture, afternoon lecture, even this night lecture. In fact, you guys are doing too much already. God bless you all. Thank you, everyone. Remain blessed.
All right, thank you, Corporate Bestie. Thank you. It's a privilege to have you. Thank you, Bestie. Bestie is a friend and also a community partner. Yeah, so she, yeah, so it's quite an honor and privilege to have her be part of what we are doing. And this program is also part of, yeah, it's part of the impact of the program is also part of her success story. Okay, so she's part of what we are doing. Okay, thank you so much, Bestie. And thank you also, Miriam. Thank you so much. It's nice to meet you, Miriam. And I want to say thank you on behalf of everyone at Rat5 Tech Hub. Thank you so much for this opportunity. God bless you.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you, everyone, so much, too. It's nice meeting you, Igwe. Bye, everyone. Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Thank you.
Yeah, Linda, we have a section in the morning. Okay, so we have a section in the morning, and tomorrow is Friday, so it's going to be tomorrow's section is also going to be on legals. Yeah, I guess. So it's going to be a 2 to 3 yeah, a 2 to 5 minute conversation. So titled "You and Your Startup Lawyer." Okay, so hopefully we might reach out to Bestie and see if they will have one person. Although we already have our startup mentor, Amaka, who will be on the call. Probably we might reach out to them and have one person, but it's going to just be kind of you and your startup lawyer. You talk kind of a clinic. You talk, this is where I'm having issues. This is this co-founder conflict. I'm having issues. I want to give out my shares. How much should I give? Should I give 5% or 10%? How do I determine my valuation and all that? So please, when you are engaging with our guests, our facilitators, our mentors, please be open-minded, okay, to ask your questions, right? Don't shy away from asking your questions. You can ask certain questions and you might get the answer you have been looking out for, okay? So please, tomorrow, let us make it a Q&A. Each person is going to have like 2-3 minutes. You have that section with the startup lawyer. Ask your question. The next person will come on board and we can have that conversation. Okay. Thank you. And God bless you. Linda, do we have anything? Am I missing anything? All right. Take care, everyone. I think I'm not. Good night.